What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and very recently I hit 5,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel, and I just want to say how appreciative I am of everybody who has supported me, whether you've just been watching or you've been supporting me on Patreon, or you're another channel who has kind of interacted with me, or whether you've donated knives, etc. I am infinitely grateful, and this channel and the fact that it hit 5,000, that wouldn't have been possible without you. I've had a very interesting experience with all of this, my channel is not the fastest growing channel in the world. It's definitely not the biggest channel in the world. In fact, 5,000 subscribers really, not to make it sound like I'm not appreciative of it, but it's not a lot in the grand scheme of YouTube. It's not a lot, but I know that most of you who come and visit my channel, you're here for knife stuff, right? That's why you come and watch my stuff. But I know there are a few of you out there who are interested in trying this for yourselves, and it can be great. But there are also some things about it that kind of suck, and I don't want to pretend for a second that I've experienced enough of YouTube, being somebody who uploads on YouTube. I don't want to pretend for a second that I have enough information to be able to even come remotely close to being somebody who can tell other people how to build their channel. You could, at this very moment, go and start your own YouTube channel and upload however you want, and it might blow up, and you might be unbelievably successful. You might be 100 times bigger than this channel is right now, and it might only take you a month. I think that's pretty rare, but it does happen. That happens with people. So keep that in mind. I'm going to give you guys some pros and cons to starting a YouTube channel for those people who are interested in hearing my unique experience and taking some of the things that happen with this channel and applying it to starting their own. But you're not getting this information from somebody who knows everything. In fact, truthfully, my position here on YouTube is one that comes from very limited experience, not a whole lot. So I'm going to start off with some bad things, and I want everybody to keep in mind that the stuff on this list is not a definitive, all-inclusive list of every negative thing that comes with starting a YouTube channel, but the things on this list are things that will affect everybody in some way, shape, or form. I don't want to be demotivating. I don't want to take away from somebody's interest in this hobby. But I do want to say that if anything on this list sounds like something that you don't want to deal with, or something you don't want to mess with, it might be that YouTube is not for you, because these are very real things that people find out. That I found out very quickly. When I started YouTube. When I started my channel, it was just a way to extend my hobby. I never expected for it to really go anywhere. I remember thinking, like, that'd be cool to have 100 subscribers and just have some videos online. That'd be neat. A lot of people start like that. But I never thought it'd get here. So I wanted to kind of share my experience, I guess. The first thing I want to emphasize to everybody, the first negative thing on this list, and I say negative because a lot of people, I think, are interested in starting this for this reason. We are not, channels that are my size, we are not getting rich on this. In fact, we're making very little money. People who are making a living on YouTube, this is a statistic I just read the other day. Let's see, it's 95% of all channels on YouTube they have less than 10,000 subscribers. And only about 1% of all of those channels are actually making enough money to make a living. Not a luxurious living. We're not talking about enormous YouTubers who have 50 million subscribers and live in a mansion. No, I mean like just a regular living. There are very few people, less than 1%. I'll put that into perspective. At 5,000 subscribers, my analytics tells me that in the last 28 days, this channel has received 135,000 views. That's a lot of views. I'm amazed that there are that many views on this channel in a month, right? Now, I can also see how much I've made on ad revenue, and I've calculated it, and I have an estimate on how many views I would need in a month to quit my job and live on the ad revenue. It's somewhere around 2.5 million views. So 135,000 is where I'm at right now. I'd need probably about 2.5 million views a month to live on the ad revenue. So what I'm saying is it's nowhere close. I'm very appreciative of the ad revenue that I make because it helps pay for things that help support the channel. But it's what I'm saying is don't start this for money. If your main goal is just to make money and that's going to be your main motivational factor, oh boy, it's going to be very painful for a very long time. That's the truth. Don't start a channel for money. Next up, the next negative thing, the way that Google and YouTube pay you is through a system called Adsense. And to keep things short, Adsense is confusing. It's kind of a process to get set up. You don't interact with a person. You kind of just have to figure it out. It is what it is, and it's not like when you start with a new company and you get to talk with an HR department. It's just like, here you go, this is what we use, set it up. That's, have fun. That's really all that I can say about that. AdSense is frustrating. Next up, this is another big one I think that'll shock a lot of people, and a lot of you guys know this already. A lot of you can go watch tutorials online and be like, yeah, we know this. But for those people who don't, monetization itself has a lot of rules and red tape. And what I mean by that is, the moment that you upload your first video, let's say you upload a video, you start a channel, and that video overnight gets 1 million views, you will not see any money from that, not immediately. In fact, the YouTube guidelines require channels, they have to hit a threshold before they can even be submitted or considered for monetization. That threshold is 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. That's right, you can't even begin to even think about getting paid until you have at least 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. If you guys are wondering how long it took me to get there, it took me 3 months to get to 100 subscribers, and it took me 10 months to get to 1,000 and over 4,000 hours of watch time. Then and only then could I submit my channel for review, and then it took 5 additional months for them to approve me. So it actually took 1 year and 3 months to get monetized, and then I started making literally a couple of dollars a day. After having 300 and some videos up, at 1 year and 3 months into this, it was just a couple of bucks a day. That's the truth. I'm not fogging anything up for anybody. That's what it took. Now, some people, it's going to not take as long. Some people, it's going to take longer. I don't know. I have no idea what the averages are, and I don't again, this whole thing, I've done this video multiple times because every time I come back to it, I'm like, oh my gosh, you sound so preachy and arrogant. Like, and you're just like, guys, let me explain this to you. I don't want to sound like that. I'm just trying to let you guys know in case people are thinking that you can just jump on YouTube and make a whole bunch of money. It doesn't work like that. There's a lot of stuff that really is kind of frustrating, but that's the truth. It takes a very long time to get to the point where you can be approved for monetization, and they review your channel to make sure that you meet their guidelines, which means bringing your personality to the table, bringing your thoughts and everything is all fun and great, and for the most part, you can be who you want to be on YouTube, but whether or not you can get paid for it is entirely up to YouTube. They don't owe you anything. Since you're using their platform, you have to conform. That's a word that a lot of people in this day and age don't like. You do have to conform to what they view as acceptable for their advertisers. Right? And what advertisers decide is acceptable, where they want to put their ads. If you're somebody that if you're saying things that they don't like or saying things that they find offensive, then they're not going to put their ads on your channel, and you can't get monetized. So that's very vague, and I'm not the authority on that. You would need to go look at YouTube's guidelines and things like that and find out what you can and can't do. But I'm giving minor details to that truth there. Moving on, there's no consistent guaranteed form of growth. There's no guarantee that you will get to 100 subscribers in a month, 2 months, 5 months, a year. There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that you'll get to 1,000 within a certain amount of time. I've read some channels take about a year, and I've read that other channels have taken 4 years to get to 1,000 subscribers. I've also read that some people do it in a couple of months. I think the shorter amount of time, the more rare it is, but it's certainly something to consider that, you know, when you start off, you are this little teeny tiny soft voice in a sea of much larger, much louder voices, and it is so difficult to get recognized, and you just have to kind of hope and pray that somebody notices you, and it's difficult. YouTube is very overpopulated in all niches. There are 1,000 other channels exactly like mine, and a lot of them are substantially larger than me and louder, and so, you know, you're going to be fighting against that. That is a truth. Not saying you shouldn't, because you might bring something unique to the table. You might bring something different that people really want to see, and it might really benefit your channel. But that's the truth of that. And fortunately, that is the last bad thing I'm going to talk about, is the fact that YouTube is overpopulated. Just know that, you know, nothing's guaranteed. YouTube doesn't owe you anything. You're not granted views. It's nothing like that. It's just a lot of it, truthfully, I believe, is just luck. A lot of getting to 100 subscribers for this channel was just luck. Getting to 1,000 was just luck. It was, you know, getting in front of the right people, and that's all there is to it. I hope this information is helpful, guys. I hope that it's useful for somebody. Moving on here to the good things. There's definitely things that I love about having a YouTube channel. The first good thing is the interaction with the knife community. I've got a lot of friends in real life that enjoy knives, but I don't get to talk with them every day. And there's only like 6 or 7 of them, right? You guys are there's a lot more of you than the people that I interact with in my real life every day, and that's really refreshing. I think if you're part of the knife community, you kind of have to admit that in the overall population on the planet, we are definitely a minority in terms of how we think. We see a knife and we think, a tool, or it's got a beautiful grind on it, or, think of all the different things that you could use that for. We like locks and deployment mechanisms and all these different finishes and blah, 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 blah. The rest of the world says, ugh, pocket knives. Don't people use those to, attack other people? Or, they kind of have like a, and there's nothing we can really do about that. That's how it is, right? So it's refreshing to be able to interact with such a large audience of people that think like me. That's great. That is a massive benefit, and as you grow, that benefit becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. There's also the joy of watching something grow. This is kind of a no-brainer, as is a lot of stuff on this list. A lot of what I'm talking about is like, duh, obviously. But yeah, watching something grow is awesome. At first, it's like, you wait for like days to see one extra subscriber, but you get so excited. And then as time goes on, it's like, you get 2 or 3 a day, or you get 5 a day, or 10, and and it goes up and down. As of right now, there are days where I get 50 or even 60 subscribers in a day, and there are definitely still days where I only get like 10 to 15. And I imagine that it'll come in even greater fluctuations as it grows, But watching it grow is a lot of fun, and there's definitely a sense of satisfaction, a sense of pride that comes with it. And that's good, it's awesome to see something grow. Another thing is and this is a benefit that is good after a while, getting to sort of broaden your own horizons in terms of what you view as good or bad in whatever topic you're talking about. What I mean is that when I started this channel, I was only interested in US manufactured knives, and I was not interested in budget knives and only knives in a certain price range. And as this channel grew and I got my hands on more and more and more stuff, my views changed. Now in the beginning it was difficult because I couldn't pay. I was paying out of pocket for the stuff that I was reviewing, or I was bugging my friends and I was like, can I review your knife? I don't have anything else to review today. And a lot of it was budget stuff, ironically, and it was stuff that I wouldn't be interested in for myself, but I gave my opinions on it anyway, and I tried to be organic. But as time went on and I met some amazing, generous viewers, namely Jeff and Harry, these people were willing to lend me their stuff, and it was different from the stuff that I had handled before, and it was awesome to handle new things. On top of that, I was invited to join a pass-around group by Slicey Dicey, and that opened my mind up to even more brands, and I changed the way that I thought about foreign companies manufacturing knives and what quality looked like when compared to what I was used to with quality, and it was just awesome. So as your channel grows, you probably will be granted more opportunities to look at more things. Again, it's not guaranteed, but that is a benefit if you do see meaningful growth. That's one of those things where I'm dancing around sounding arrogant, like, my channel's gotten so big that I get to look at all this cool stuff. Look at me. I'm really trying to avoid sounding like that. I'm trying to give legitimate positives here without sounding arrogant, so I'm sorry if I'm coming off that way. Another positive is that it can be a healthy hobby if you're not letting it affect your social life, your family life, your actual job, right? Because you're not going to be living on this. You are going to need an actual job. That sounds preachy, but you know what I mean. As long as it's not affecting that and you are enjoying doing it, if making videos is bringing you happiness and it doesn't feel like work, it doesn't feel like an obligation, then yeah, absolutely. I think it's absolutely a healthy hobby. And in my case, it actually expanded my love of this hobby like 100-fold. And I am more interested in knives now than I ever have been, which is great as I create more content for you guys. Another benefit, one that it's kind of semi-contradictory to what I was saying. You're not going to get rich off this, at least not in the beginning, but you do eventually start to make a good amount of money. And by good, I mean, it's still, like this channel, for example, it still makes monthly substantially less than minimum wage. But that money that I do get from ad revenue absolutely pays for things like shipping costs, insurance costs, shipping materials, tools that I use on the channel, all of that stuff. Sometimes it pays for things that I give away on this channel. That combined with what I get from my extremely generous patrons, it's nowhere near enough to live on, but it definitely helps out with the cost of the channel. And only recently did this channel become completely self-sufficient, meaning I don't have to spend any more money out of my pocket to pay for things to keep the channel going. In the beginning, it's hard to admit this, but yeah, I was paying a lot of money to keep this channel going and keep bringing you guys content, and that's not a requirement, but my pace that I set for myself was I'm gonna upload all the time, right? And in some situations it required me to pay additional money for things so that I could do that. And I mean, like, the people who were willing to lend me knives, I was paying out of pocket for shipping costs to ship back to them after they shipped to me, just so I could make sure that I had something to show you guys. But now that the channel is bringing in enough revenue, I am finally able to pay for this stuff with what the channel generates. And that's a great feeling, getting to that point. And that point is going to be different for every single person. My channel is not indicative of how every single channel will operate, meaning just because this channel has 5,000 subscribers doesn't mean that everybody needs to get to 5,000 before their channel is self-sufficient. Some people do it at 1,000 subscribers, some people do it at 10,000. It really depends on how many views you have and how often people are coming back, and a million other things that I am no professional source of information on this. I'm just a guy with his own experience trying to use what he knows to help anybody who's considering doing this for themselves. And finally, the last thing on my good list, and that, there are a million other good reasons that any other person doing this could probably tell you guys, but as far as my list goes, I truthfully believe that there's never been a better time to start a YouTube channel. And that's the truth. You hear all the time, if you're somebody who's constantly on YouTube looking up information like, should I start this? What's the best way to start this? You hear a lot of negativity. You hear about how YouTube can change things all the time, how they can pull your monetization, how they, in terms of potential for opportunity, the YouTube community as a whole, the people that, could potentially view your videos, the population is massive. Yeah, we're overpopulated in terms of the types of channels, and you adding a channel might just add another in a sea of 1,000 other channels, but the audience, your potential audience, is also more massive, I think, than it's ever been. So the opportunity is there. It takes a lot of work and a lot of consistency, but the opportunity is there, and I honestly, truly believe that there's never been a better time to do this. Okay, and now moving on to the last part of this video, I just want to give a few little tiny pieces of advice to people that I think this would apply to everybody. You know, obviously, if you're here watching this, you're probably considering starting a knife-related YouTube channel. But for the few of you who might be watching this that are just like, I'm just interested in starting my own YouTube channel and I'd just like to get some general information and advice, some of this might apply to you too. But again, I don't know everything. I'm just trying to help out where I can to anybody who might be interested. The first three things, I kind of put these all into one piece of advice, and I think it's very important. It should be the central core of the foundation for your channel. Three things: knowledge of the topic, honesty, and enthusiasm about the topic. It's starting to sound like kind of a boring college lecture here, but knowledge, obviously, I mean, that goes without saying, right? You want to know what you're talking about, and you don't have to know everything, and I'm not going to specifically define that. Honestly, I think you need to be able to fill a video, and me personally, I like to watch videos that are between 5 minutes and 20 minutes. I think a lot of people kind of land in there. So if you can fill a video with knowledge about, your topic for 5 minutes and not leave a bunch of dead, this is my favorite knife, and I carry it a lot. The truth is that I don't think a lot of people like to watch that stuff. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's exactly what people like to watch. But for the most part, I don't enjoy videos where there's a lot of dead silence and someone's just telling me that they really like it. I want to know why. I want to know what you think about the different aspects of it, and it's more engaging when you sound like you know what you're talking about, and confidence is a big part of that. So if you have confidence in it, if you have enough to talk about, let it show, be able to continuously talk about the thing that you're talking about. It doesn't matter if you've been collecting for 2 months or you've been collecting for 10 years. If you feel confident about what you're talking about, then it's gonna show, and the people who come to watch your channel are gonna catch on to that, and they're gonna want to come back for more. Number 2, honesty. Oh my gosh, so important. It is so difficult to fake a personality or pretend that you know more about the topic than you actually do, or to just continuously lie about a certain thing for a continued, because if your channel grows, right, if you fool a few people and your channel grows, you're just more and more and more likely to get caught in the lie. So it's pointless to do it in the first place. You should be honest. If your expertise is limited on a certain subject, as I'm always saying, like, guys, here's what I know about this and here's what I don't know. So you owe it to your audience to tell them, here's where you're getting this information, right? It can be tempting sometimes to give the impression to your audience that you know a lot about this topic, that you are the source of information, because you want people to come back thinking that, you want to attract a whole bunch of people with the thought of, hey, this guy knows everything. But you will inevitably get caught in a lie, right? I mean, not necessarily in terms of knowledge, but there's a bunch of different things you could lie about on camera. Just don't do it in the first place. We are genetically evolved to detect when people are lying. Not everybody, and some people are more or less sensitive to it, but if you get to the point where you've got 100,000 people watching your channel a month, or even 5,000 people watching your channel a month, it's pretty likely that someone is going to point out, like, hey, this kind of it's starting to smell like BS. Honesty is a huge part of that. Just be honest from the beginning. You're going to attract the real long-term subscribers that you really want anyway with honesty. And finally, enthusiasm. If you're, it's real tempting to play Mr. Cool on the camera, especially if you're not really sure exactly where you want to be. And go way back in my channel. I sounded like, hey guys, Metal Complex here, and today I want to talk about the Spyderco Shaman. And it's because I wasn't sure exactly how to act, and I was a little bit fearful about letting my true personality out on camera. It turns out my actual personality, truthfully, in real life, I'm very enthusiastic, I'm very engaging and social. I'm like that. And if I get excited about something, it shows and I get louder. I started to do that on camera, and that's when I really honestly started to notice my channel taking off. And I thought, well, duh, it's because the people who are coming here to watch this channel are just as enthusiastic as I am. So when they hear me get enthusiastic about it and excited about it, a lot of them decide to stay. Some people are like, whoa, that guy's crazy, I'm getting out of here. But a lot of you guys decided to stay because of my enthusiasm. So it's okay to be enthusiastic, and everybody has different levels. You don't have to be exactly like me. Definitely be you, but if you're excited about it, let it show at least a little bit, because it's engaging for your audience. It's something that people like, and enjoy. Moving on to some other things here. Those are the most important things in my opinion, but some other quick little tips, little pieces of advice. Obviously, be willing to work for free for a while. We kind of covered that, but that's pretty much going to be the case for the majority of people starting their channels. Just let passion fuel your channel. If you're truly passionate about it, you're not going to care that you're not getting paid. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a way for you to expand your hobby and connect with people you haven't connected before. Just expect to not get paid for a while and just enjoy what you're doing. Utilize your analytics, absolutely. Your analytics are available on your YouTube desktop studio and through the Creator Studio on your phone. Now, you do not have all the tools available to you through Creator Studio on the phone application, and this is once you would start the channel. The major tools involved with putting videos out there and being able to get them exactly the way that you want are all on desktop. So you don't have to have a desktop computer to have a YouTube channel, but I would be lying if I said that I did all of this on my phone. In fact, a large portion of what I do for this channel requires a desktop computer. But your analytics are available between the mobile platform and the desktop platform. Looking at your analytics, being able to go, okay, this video got this many views and this many people subscribed after watching this video. Here's how many subscribers I got this month. Here's how many views I got this month. Being able to take that information and condense it and be like, how can I recreate this in a way that's attractive to people? That's a good idea. You don't have to keep releasing the exact same video, but the same idea, And if your audience enjoys it, and you look at that video and you're like, did I enjoy making that? Was that fun? And if the answer is yes, then that's win-win. Do the same thing, but make each individual piece of content unique, in and of itself. And that's, I suppose it's like, well, easier said than done. How do I do that? It depends on exactly what it is that you bring to the table. But what I'm saying is that YouTube will give you the data on your videos. So use that data to help grow your channel. Do what you like and what your audience wants to see, and you're destined to see some type of meaningful growth. That brings me to my next point. Listen to your viewers. If you think one way, and over time an increasing population of people are telling you, you should consider this, you should think about this, you're actually wrong about this. In the beginning, it may be that some people are wrong and that you are right, but if you find that over time, more and more people are saying, hey, you're wrong about this, you might want to step back and look into it and consider, really think like who's right here. Because if your audience is right, it doesn't do you any good to be stubborn. It's just going to turn people away. Listen to your audience. If a bunch of people are making suggestions that you can take and use to the benefit of your channel, then it's going to help you grow as a creator. It's going to help your channel grow, and it's going to really make your audience respect you. I mean, not everybody's going to see everything exactly the same way. In fact, it's a guarantee that some people are just not going to like what you do no matter what. That's just going to be the case. But listen to your audience. It's very important. Brings me to my next one. Have thick skin. This channel has a really good like to dislike ratio, and I'm infinitely appreciative of that. I'm so flattered that so many people agree with what I do, but there are definitely people who just stop in to tell me that I suck and then they just leave. People do that, today, it's like right now when I'm recording this video, it's like 10 o'clock in the morning. I've already had 2 really mean comments this morning. That's just gonna happen, you can't avoid it. There's gonna be people who actually think that you should change your channel to cater to their specific way of thinking, and they're just one guy in a sea of people, and they're just being mean to you because you don't do things the way that they want you to do. You don't have to listen to that guy. You don't have to, because the vast majority of people who are watching your channel, if you're good and genuine and honest, and you're knowledgeable about the topic, and you're listening to your audience, my guess is you're going to have more of these than these, right? So that one guy asking you to change things just for him, you don't have to listen to him. You should listen to people, the vast majority of people who like your content. Then there's going to be people who just drop in to say something mean and go about their day. You can't do anything about those people. They exist. They just do. So you're just gonna, everybody's got a more or less easily bruised ego, and everybody starts out with a certain density of thick skin that lays over the top of the soft skin underneath. We all have soft skin underneath. Every single one of us. I would love to tell you guys that I'm the toughest guy in the world and that nothing ever affects me, but that's not true. There are definitely things that affect me and burn me or make me upset. But you just have to develop thick skin, and you naturally will over time. If you keep pushing and you don't let anything affect you to the point where you quit the channel, you just get thicker and thicker and thicker skin. As long as you don't just turn into a stubborn donkey of a person, and you're just emotionless. As long as you kind of, in a sense, everybody can do their own thing, but kind of follow what I was saying about listening to your audience and being honest and stuff like that, then you're probably destined for meaningful growth. Next up, keep promises. If you tell people that you're going to upload twice a week, upload twice a week. And if you know that a week is going to be more difficult sometimes, then have videos pre-recorded so that you can keep those promises. Consistency is a huge factor. When I was uploading at random, and I was uploading I didn't have any specific schedule. It was still early on in the channel. I wasn't seeing any consistent growth. But when I started uploading on a schedule, the same time, every day, and you don't have to upload every day, but it was always at the same time, and I told my audience, here's when I'm going to be uploading, and then I did that, and I pre-recorded videos for times where I knew I was going to be out of town or I wouldn't be able to make a video and upload it that day. That's when the views really started to take off and the subscribers really started to take off. So keep promises, and if you have to break your promises, tell your audience. You guys know that I have set the lofty goal of uploading every single day, and sometimes I regret that, but I love making content so much that it really hasn't been a problem so far. But if it got to the point where I was in a situation where I was like, I can't do this anymore, then I would tell my viewers, guys, I'm going to cut it back to 4 videos a week or 5 videos a week. I know you guys, want to see one every day, but I just can't do it anymore. Be honest, tell people if that has to happen. Next up, use your networks. It's absolutely a good idea to make friends. It's absolutely a good idea to connect with other people in the same world on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. Yeah, Facebook is still alive with these buy, sell, trade, and collector groups. It's a good idea to communicate with other channels who are like you. You don't have to fake who you are in order to impress or gain the attention of another channel. In fact, it's actually kind of easy to come off as annoying, because when I was a smaller channel, I always felt like I was bugging a larger channel whenever I had a question or was seeking advice or something. But it's a good idea to try and make friends. Not everybody's going to see eye to eye with you, but making friends and communicating, whether they're just viewers or they're other channels or anything, it doesn't matter. It's a good idea to use networks, because these networks in and of themselves are portals directly to your channel. And while that's good, you should never use people just for that. Make actual connections, build actual bridges, right? Because then they're there in the long haul. You don't want to build a bridge with pipe cleaners. You want to build a bridge with iron and wood, whatever your building material of choice is, but make it solid so that it lasts. It's very important to use networks. And the last one here, I think the most important piece of advice that I can offer any channel is give back. What I mean by that is when you are, when you start up your YouTube channel, you're going to find that all the time, in one way, shape, or form, you are pretty much constantly asking your viewers to give to you. Please subscribe, please like, please comment, please share, please subscribe, or please join my Patreon. Please check out my Twitter, please check out my Instagram, blah, 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 blah. You're always asking your viewers to give, right? They're already stopping by to watch your content. They're already helping with that. So you're asking them to do a million other things. It's a good idea to give back. And that might sound like, well, duh, okay, but it's easy for you because you're at a point where people are donating stuff to you that you can give. You're right. It is easier for me to say that. When I started out, I didn't have anything unless I wanted to pay out of pocket to give things. You don't necessarily have to be offering up items for giveaways that are really, really expensive. And I do not want this to sound patronizing, and I can hear it in my voice. Like, this sounds patronizing, you know? But when I started off, like, I couldn't afford to, like, give away a $200 knife. Obviously, I just couldn't do that, you know? But a lot of times with a lot of viewers, it's just the feeling of reciprocation, or the idea of reciprocation, the fact that you're trying to give back, that people like. And don't just do it just for views and subscribers or just to attract people. Do it because people actually take time out of their day to come to your channel and watch your content. It is a good idea to give back. Sometimes people will give you direct gifts, and it's a good idea to give directly back to those people, but it's also a good idea to kind of pass it forward, you know? Open up an opportunity to everybody, an equal opportunity to everybody who watches your channel, subscribes to your channel, donates to your Patreon. It's all great, so give everybody an opportunity to win something. That's obviously, I can't give something to every single person who watches my channel, but I can give everybody an equal opportunity to win something, you know, without having to pay in or do something specific. I always say that in my giveaways. You don't have to be subscribed. You don't have to join my Patreon. All you have to do is be paying attention, right? It is healthy for your channel. Definitely, that's a nice bonus, but truthfully, you should give back just because you are constantly asking people to give to you. It's very important. Guys, that's pretty much it. We're going on like 40 minutes here. This is a super long video, and I already know I've barely got anybody left watching. But I hope some of this information was somewhat helpful. Again, I'm sorry if any unintentional arrogance came through, or if any of it sounded patronizing, or if I sounded like somebody who thinks they know everything just because they hit 5,000. I don't want that to be it's not intentional. I'm not at a point where I think I'm a hotshot or anything like that. I never intended for it to get this big, and I'm at this point, and I thought, well, maybe I can offer some information to somebody looking to do the same thing. I am very happy with the growth. This channel has seen healthy growth for a while now, and I'm really excited to see where the channel goes in the future. And there's no end in sight for me. I plan to do this for a very long time, as long as it stays fun, as long as it doesn't feel like an obligation, and most importantly, as long as you guys are enjoying it. So anyways, if you enjoyed this video or found it informative or entertaining, or you found it anything positive in any way, shape, or form, please give me a like. I lost my train of thought there. Go ahead and give me a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, then go ahead and click that Metal Complex logo and subscribe to my channel, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.